Defense ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, very well. If you'll bring in the jury, please. Actually, bring in the defendant first. All right, let the record reflect the defendant's present with his attorney as well as counsel for the state. Are there any matters or motions on behalf of the defense
No, Your Honor.
or the state?
No, sir.
All right. If you'll bring in the jury, please.
Yes, sir.
Well, good morning. I see all members of the jury are present. I'll give you a moment to get settled. Make sure that we got the right notebooks back to the right chair. Again, if you need another notebook or an ink pen, let the bailiffs know and we'll provide that for you. All right. Looks like everybody's settling in. Mr. Sachs, you may call your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state would call Edward Welch in this thing.
Sir, if you would, place your left hand on the Bible and raise your right. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I swear.
Thank you.
Be seated and you may proceed when he's settled.
Good morning, sir. Would you please tell this jury who you are?
Good morning, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Edward Welch. I used to be employed with the Wake County Sheriff's Office. I relocated to California last year. At the time of when this incident occurred, I was currently attached as a detective with the Person Crimes Unit with the Sheriff's Office.
And are you involved with law enforcement out in California now?
Not right now, no.
Are you planning to get involved with law enforcement in California?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and which agency is that with?
San Francisco Police Department.
How long have you been in law enforcement?
All told, 17 years. 9 years was with the London Metropolitan Police Service in London, England, and then 8 years with the Wake County Sheriff's Office.
You indicated that at the time this occurred, you were assigned as an investigator with the Persons Crime Unit. Is that correct?
That's correct.
How long were you an investigator with the Wake County Sheriff's Office?
All told, I believe, 4 years.
Back in December of 2012 and January of 2013, were you working as a person crimes investigator with the Wake County Sheriff's Office?
Yes, sir, I was.
Did you have the occasion to become involved with an incident that occurred at 708 Colonial Drive in January of 2013?
Yes, I was. Yes, sir.
How did you get involved in this case?
I was notified the day after, I believe on January 6th, that a family had been murdered at that address. And on January 6th, I met with Detective Barefoot at the home address of 708 Colonial.
And what did, when you met there, Investigator Barefoot at that residence, what did you observe about this residence on Colonial Drive?
Small single-story residence. There were probably about 4 or 5 residences, all of same structure, joined together. It was in a very quiet residential neighborhood. Not a lot of activity or calls that I can remember as a patrol deputy that we would ever get called to. It was very quiet.
And did you have the occasion to go inside that residence with Investigator Barefoot?
Yes, sir, I did.
What did you see when you were inside that residence?
Upon entry into the house, you immediately went into the main living room. There was a sofa on the right-hand side. A lot of bullet holes when you first observed that living room. Directly straight in front of you was the kitchen. Bullet holes there too. Upon further entry into the house, I believe, if memory serves me correctly, there were two bedrooms, a bathroom. It was very disturbing, in all honesty. Something I had never seen before. And obviously to learn the facts and the circumstances surrounding what had happened. Very emotional.
Were there basically bullet holes in just about every room of that house?
Every room.
Were you assigned to help investigate this particular matter with Investigator Barefoot?
Yes, sir, I was. I was assigned as co-lead investigator.
As one of those lead investigators, did y'all have the occasion to speak with or get information from a person by the name of David Gonzalez?
Yes, we did.
Sancho.
Correct. Yes.
Did that occur shortly after you became assigned or involved in this particular case?
I believe it was on the same day, January 6th.
Okay. After having an interview or speaking with Mr. Gonzalez, did you learn some names of some people that might possibly be involved in this particular case?
Yes, sir.
Was one of those names Pablo Reyes?
Yes.
What did you all do when you all got the name of Pablo Reyes?
We made initial inquiries into that name and learned that that individual was currently in the detention facility of the Wake County Sheriff's Office.
Is that our local jail?
Yes. Yeah.
When you found out that Pablo was in jail, what did you all do?
We instructed, I think, jail staff to start to record all jail calls made to and from the jail from that individual.
Okay. Were y'all able then to review some of those jail calls?
We did.
Upon reviewing those jail calls, what did you all find?
We learned that there had been numerous conversations between Pablo Reyes and his girlfriend. When the conversations were looked at, there were several wordings which was very much like code, and which led us to make further inquiries with regards to locating his girlfriend and talking to her.
Did the codes or the words that were being used, did they raise your suspicion as to whether Mr. Reyes, Pablo Reyes that is, was involved in these murders and or his girlfriend?
Yes, they did. Mm-hmm.
And who was his girlfriend? Remember her name?
It's Samara Estrada. I think she went by the name of Gimby Estrada.
Did you all then make contact with Ms. Estrada?
Yes, we did.
Do you remember where she lived, by any chance?
Water Oak Drive, I can't remember the numerics, but it was just outside of Raleigh.
Water Oak Drive?
Water Oak Drive.
Okay. In getting up with Ms. Estrada, did she cooperate with you all as far as coming in to talk with you all?
She did, yes.
Okay. Based on that conversation, did you all later get a search warrant to search her residence?
Yes, we did.
And were you involved in that search?
I was.
And was this going to be still in January of 2013?
I believe, yes.
What did you all find when you all searched Ms. Estrada's place?
It's a one-bedroom apartment. We found an AK-47 located under the bed, and together with it was a drum containing ammunition for that assault rifle.
Did that particular kind of weapon have any kind of significance to you as being an investigator of what happened at 708 Colonial Drive?
Yes, it did.
How so?
2 types of ammunition were found at that location at 708 Colonial. One type was a 45 ACP, the other was 7.62 39 millimeter, which was associated ammunition with that rifle.
Once you found that rifle, what did you all do with that rifle?
Rifle was given over to the City County Bureau of Identification, and subsequently I believe it was sent off to be compared with the spent shell casings found at the murder scene.
And we'll get into the specifics of all that later, but did you become aware of the results of that lab test on that particular AK-47 found on Water Road Drive?
I was, yes.
And what was that result?
It was not specific to...
Wait. Overruled, it's not being offered for the truth of the matter asserted, but what he did as a result of receiving that information. And I was going to interrupt and ask, and I may have missed it, but what date was the girlfriend's apartment searched?
We'll be getting into that.
Okay.
Your Honor.
All right.
That will be put in, and this is also going to explain why he continued further on. So.
All right, very well. The objection is noted for the record and overruled. You may proceed.
Did you become aware of that lab result of that weapon you found on Water Road Drive?
I was made aware it was a negative result.
Okay. Because of that, what did you all do?
Further inquiries were made, and that obviously led us on to search warrants to be conducted at 2 addresses on Montesino Drive.
Was that after further dealings with Ms. Estrada where you found the first AK-47?
That's right.
All right. Yeah. And do you recall what addresses on Montesino Drive were you all looking at?
Number 165 and number 168 Montesino Drive.
Okay. And are they close to each other?
Yeah, they're right across the street from one another.
And do you know whose residence these were that you all were going to?
Defendants and one of the other individuals who was named had come up in the course of this investigation.
That Israel Basket?
Israel Basket, that's right.
How did you all then execute those search warrants on Montesino Drive?
I was responsible for conducting, or certainly being in charge of the search warrant at 165 Montesino. My colleague, Detective Barefoot, was in charge of the search warrant at 168, but they were conducted together simultaneously.
Why were they conducted together at the same time?
We didn't want one search warrant to be conducted at one night or one specific date, and then say the next one to be done the day after, in case the individuals who we were looking at, the addresses, just to make sure we didn't want any evidence to be lost. We didn't want to have one person learn that this house was being searched, and then subsequent pursuant to that, evidence to be discarded.
Do you recall what day those search warrants were done?
January 15th, 2013. 2013.
What happened on that date, on January the 15th, 2013, when you executed your search warrant at 165 Montesino Drive?
SRT, the Special Response Team, made the initial entry, obviously to make sure that the residence was secure and all persons inside were detained, obviously for our safety. Myself and other investigators from the CID department with the Sheriff's Office went inside, and then subsequent to that, a search was conducted of that residence.
Did you find anything of significance inside of that residence?
We did. I actually went up into the attic space of 165 Montesino.
Why did you go into the attic space of that house?
Two individuals, two persons were actually removed from the attic space by their special response team. They were concealing themselves upstairs. They were concealing themselves up in the attic space. Sorry.
And what did you find when you went up into that attic space?
Various articles. We found a 45 caliber, 45 ACP caliber handgun, ammunition. We also found a 7.62 millimeter AK-47 assault rifle. What else did we find? Another shotgun, I believe. All sorts of articles further, and just a lot of ammunition.
Do you remember how you got up into that attic in that house?
How did I get up there?
Yes, sir.
I was pushed up there by one of the response guys.
Okay. Do you remember the room where you had to access that attic space?
It was next door to a bedroom.
And if I showed you some of those items that you found back on January the 15th of 2013, would you be able to identify them for us?
Yes, sir. Yep, absolutely.
If I may approach you on?
Yes, you may. Excuse me.
Sir, I'm handing you right now what's marked as State's Exhibit number 4. Do you see that red sticker that says 4 on it?
Yes, I do.
I'm going to ask you to look at that for a moment and see if you can tell us what that is.
It's the AK-47. It's the AK-47 that we have found at Itzamar Estrada's, Pablo Reyes' girlfriend house at Water Oak Drive. It was the AK-47 assault rifle that we had found under her bed.
And right now, is that weapon in a sealed box?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and as you look at that box, does it appear to be sealed all the way around?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And the box itself, you can't see through, correct?
No.
So how do you know that that box is supposed to contain that weapon?
It's correctly marked with an exhibit label, which you have the case number, date, time, place from where the article itself was taken from.
Okay. And does that exhibit label also list the date when it was collected, at the time that this search warrant was executed?
Yes, sir.
And what date is listed on there?
January 14th of 2013.
Okay, so that would have been the day before you executed the simultaneous search warrants on Montesino Drive?
That's right. Yes, sir.
And you did indicate this box is still sealed right now as you examine it, correct?
Yes, sir.
I've placed a pair of scissors up there on the stand for you to use. Would you please open that box and verify that that weapon is inside that box?
Yes, sir.
Do you find that weapon inside State Exhibit number 4?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Now, there's some other items, I believe, in, if I may approach.
You may.
There's some other, there's a bag of what appears to be some ammunition and some clips, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, all right. We'll deal with those later. But as you look at this item of what's contained inside State Exhibit number 4, does that appear to be the same weapon that you recovered back on January the 14th of 2013 from Water Oak Drive from Mr. Strada's apartment?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Yes.
I may switch out.
You may. That's from you, sir.
Let me hand you what's now been marked as State Exhibit number 5. You see that red stick with the 5 on it?
Yes, sir, I do.
Can you tell us what that is?
This is the 7.62 39 millimeter AK-47 assault rifle that we recovered from 165 Montesino Drive on the 15th of January 2013.
And how do you know that, again, is that box in a sealed condition right now?
It's sealed. I mean, it's actually been sealed by me, and it has, once again, it has the exhibit label attached to the box, which gives the case number, the date, and the address location where that item was recovered from.
Where did you find this item?
165 Montesino Drive,
Where in 165 Montesino?
in the attic space upstairs.
How did you find it in the attic space upstairs?
Sweeping away the insulation but with a broom that night.
If I may approach your Honor.
Excuse me, yes, you may.
Seems a little difficulty with the scissors, so we'll try. That might make it easier. Would you please open up that thing number 5?
Yes, sir.
Confirm whether or not that weapon is there. Do you find that weapon inside the box marked State Exhibit number 5?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. And I believe, again, if I may approach, Ron?
Yes.
Again, I believe that there are some other bags and clips of other items in here with the gun. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, there is.
We'll have those identified with another witness later on. But does this appear to be that same weapon that you found in the attic of 165 Montesino Drive?
Yes, sir.
January the 15th of 2013?
It's the same one, yes.
Here.
This might be a little easier. May I approach?
Yes, you may.
been marked for identification as state exhibit number 6. Do you see that red sticker that says 6 on it?
Yes, sir, I do.
Does this appear to also be a sealed white box?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us what it's supposed to be out of there?
Should be it's a .45 caliber handgun, which was found on January 15th, 2013.
Okay. The box is sealed right now as you're examining it, correct?
Yes, sir, it is.
And you did indicate earlier, did you find a .45 caliber handgun during your search of the attic at 165 Montesino Drive back on January the 15th of 2013?
Yes, sir, we did.
You would go ahead and please open that box. Find inside the box marked state exhibit number 6?
It's the Haskell .45 caliber handgun that we found at 165 Montesino.
Okay. And again, are there other little bags, ammunition, clips, or other things located in the box with the handgun?
There's an empty magazine for that handgun, as well as two bags with some spent shell casings, and I believe another bag with some containing ammunition also.
We'll have other witnesses deal with that later, but looking at that handgun that's in state exhibit number 6, does that appear to be the .45 caliber handgun that you found on January the 15th in that attic space of 165 Montesino Drive?
Yes, sir, it was the one I found, yes.
Okay. And does, let me ask, does it appear to be, except for maybe the clip and the things being taken apart, does it appear to be in the same general condition as when you found it back on that day?
It is, sir, yes.
And I think I neglected to ask that about the 2 rifles, but when you looked at those rifles, besides kind of being taken apart with the clips and the ammunition, did they appear to be in generally the same condition as when you found them on that date?
Yes, sir.
And does that also include the AK-47 that was found at Ms. Estrada's place on Water Road Drive?
Yes, sir.
Same condition?
Same.
Yes, sir. Ma'am.
Mr. Welch, you had indicated that when you found the AK-47 rifle in Ms. Estrada's place on the 14th of January, that had some significance for you, is that right?
Yes, sir.
When you found the .45 caliber handgun on the 15th in Montesino Drive, did that have some significance for you?
Yes, sir.
Well, how so?
Well, as I said earlier, there were 2 types of ammunition, spent ammunition, that were found at 708 Colonial Drive, the 2 being 7.62 caliber, as well as 45 ACP caliber.
Did you, when you found both the weapons on the 15th of January 2013 at 165 Montesino Drive, did you have those items, or someone in your agency have those items sent off to be tested to see if they match the ballistics from the crime scene?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you become aware of the results of the test on that .45 caliber handgun that was in the box marked state exhibit number 6?
Yes, sir.
And what was that result?
The objection is noted for the record and overruled. It's admissible not for the truth of the matter, but what effect it had on him and what he did as a result of receiving that information. It's also going to be corroborated later, I would assume.
What was that result?
It was a negative result with the ballistics.
When you found that out, what did you all do?
We talked at length with each other because we learned that the AK-47 found on the 15th did match with the ballistics found. at 708 Colonial. We knew that 2 weapons were involved, 7.62 and a .45. On the 15th, I recovered a .45 caliber handgun, which proved negative. I believe that the .45 caliber handgun in question was still located somewhere at 165 Montesino.
Why did you believe that?
Because that's where that's where all the ammunition and the firearms were located and concealed under the insulation.
And you kind of talked about it before. Would you explain to this jury how you actually went about searching that attic space?
You had to go up into a very small attic space entranceway, and it's very, very small, very, very enclosed. The whole attic space floor structure itself is covered in very loose insulation. I mean, when you go into most people's insulation, it's one long mat. It's I mean, very much like snow. I mean, you could tell it had been taken apart. So on the 15th, the search was conducted purely by myself. There was a further search as a result of that on the 22nd, after discussing at length with Detective Barefoot and also our supervisor at the time, that I believe that the .45 caliber handgun was still there.
So, in believing that, what did you all do?
Myself and Detective Barefoot, as a result of the search warrant pursuant to that, we searched the attic space, and we found further articles, including another .45 caliber handgun, as well as a shotgun and various other articles.
When was that second search warrant done?
January 22nd, 2013.
That was basically exactly a week later?
Correct.
And again, when you all went back the second time on January the 22nd of 2013, did you all go into that attic space?
Yes, we did.
This time, who went up with you?
Myself and Detective Barefoot did.
Okay. And how did you all search the space this time?
As best we could, again, probably with 2 brooms. That's probably the best way you could have done it. But this time, there was 2 of us doing it.
And looking at what I've handed you as Stakes Exhibit number 7, can you tell us what that is?
It's a .45 caliber handgun. It's a high point model.
Okay. And right now, is that in a sealed box?
Yes, sir, it is.
And can you see inside that box?
No, you cannot.
And so, again, explain to us how you know what's supposed to be in that box.
Again, it's a sealed box, initialed by the person who sealed it, dated it, and there's also an exhibit label, which obviously describes the exhibit contained inside and the date and time for where it was taken.
If you would then go ahead and open Stakes Exhibit number 7 and confirm for us whether or not that weapon is in there.
Yes, sir.
Do you find that weapon inside of Stakes Exhibit number 7?
Yes, sir.
And again, are there other, like, is it taken apart from the clip and have some ammo out in separate packaging?
Yes, sir, there is.
Okay, and again, we'll deal with that with later witnesses, but does that weapon appear to be the same one you collected from the attic space back on January the 22nd of 2013 from 165 Montesino Drive?
Yes, sir, it's the same weapon.
And does it appear to be in generally the same condition as when you collected it back at that time at that place?
Yes, sir.
Yes, you may.
Mr. Welch, I've handed you now an item that's marked State's Exhibit number 8. Do you see the red sticker on the tag attached to it that has the number 8 on it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you tell us what that is?
So it's a blue backpack, rucksack.
Okay. And were you the one who actually recovered that item?
Yes, sir, I was.
Where did you recover this item from?
Again, up in the attic space at 165 Montesino Drive.
And since we dealt with that second .45 caliber handgun, I want to be sure which time on the 15th or the 22nd did you recover this item?
It's on the 15th,
Okay.
January
Back to
15th.
that first search warrant?
Yes, sir.
All right. And why was this backpack significant to you?
When I located it, I opened it, and there's a lot of ammunition, 45 ammunition that was found inside.
Okay. Currently, is the backpack sealed? That is, it can't be zipped open right now?
Yes, sir, that's right.
All right. Was it in that condition, or was that done when you had initially found it?
No, no, sir.
So you were able to unzip it and look inside back on the 15th of January?
Yes, sir.
I'm not going to have you open that here. I'll have
Okay.
people who sealed it do that. But just looking at the backpack, does that appear to be in the same condition as when you found it back at that time at that place?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And
Yes, sir.
Mr. Welch, I've now placed several items up on the stand for you. You should have now State's Exhibits 9, 10, 11, and 12. Do you see 4 separate packages with those different numbers on them?
Yes, sir, I do.
Just generally, do all of these items appear to be items that you found in the attic space and collected back on January the 15th of 2013 from 165 Montesino Drive?
Yes, sir, that's right.
Okay. Let's start in numerical order then with State Exhibit number 9. What are we looking at there?
It's a evidence seal bag, sealed, dated and time by the individual. Contains another sealed bag with 38 caliber shell casings. Actually, 38 caliber live ammunition.
Right. Okay. Is that basically a bag of ammunition?
Yes.
And again, where did you find that item?
It's the attic space of 165 Montesino Drive.
Just so we know, because we've heard about several items that you found up in this attic, correct?
Correct.
How did you collect all these items?
By hand, and then they were obviously passed on to another detective.
Okay, through the attic?
Through the attic space entrance, yes.
Okay. And after it was brought down out of the attic, is that when CCBI came to collect these items?
Yes, sir.
And looking at that ammunition in State Exhibit number 9, besides being in a new evidence bag, does the ammunition itself and the bag you found it in, do they appear to be in the same condition as when you found it back in January of 2013?
Yes, sir.
Let's go to State Exhibit number 10. What is that?
It's again another evidence bag, sealed, dated and timed. Contains a box of 45 caliber ammunition.
Again, where was that item found?
The attic space at 165 Montesino Drive.
And was that during your first search warrant on January the 15th
Yes, sir, it was.
And all of these, well, actually, 3 of these items are in clear plastic bags, correct?
Correct.
So can you see the box of ammunition in the evidence bag marked exhibit number 10?
Number 10, you can, yes.
Okay. As you look at that box of ammunition, does it appear to be in the same condition as when you collected it back at that time at that place?
Yes.
Okay. How about state exhibit number 11? What is that?
Again, another evidence bag which is sealed and dated. Contains a loaded .45 caliber magazine.
And again, where did you find this item?
It's the attic space, 165 Montesino Drive.
Was that on January the 15th of 2013?
Yes, sir.
And is it in a clear bag?
Yes, sir.
As you look at it through that clear bag, then, does it appear to be in the same condition as when you found it at that location at that time?
Yes, sir, it does.
And then finally, state exhibit number 12, what is that supposed to be?
It's an envelope containing, according to the evidence bag here, or the evidence envelope, and the sticker on it says a .45 caliber magazine containing 7 live rounds.
Now, state exhibit number 12 is not in a clear evidence bag, correct?
No, it's not.
So you can't see through it at this point?
No, sir.
All right. So how do you know what's supposed to be in there?
Again, it has an evidence label with the case number and the date and the location and the description of the evidence contained in it and where it was located from.
Is that envelope currently sealed as you examine it on the stand there today?
Yes, sir.
Would you please open it up and see if it does in fact contain what it's supposed to?
Sir. It's as described on the label. It's a .45 caliber magazine containing 7 live rounds of ammunition.
And were you the one who actually found this item in the attic space of 165
Yes, sir.
Montesino back on January the 15th, 2013?
Yes.
Okay. And as you look at that item inside state exhibit number 12, does it appear to be in the same condition as when you found it back at that time at that place?
Yes.
I believe you already testified you were also involved a week later when you went back for that second search warrant at 165 Montesino. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yes, sir, you may.
Mr. Welch, I've now handed you an item that's marked State's Exhibit number 13. Can you tell us what that is?
Once again, it's an evidence bag which has been sealed, and it contains various items that I recognize from 165 Montesino Drive.
Where did you find these items?
In the attic space again,
Okay.
165 Montesino.
And were all of these items located in that plastic grocery bag that's inside of that evidence bag?
Yes, sir.
And what kind of items did you find inside of that grocery bag?
There's a Bowie knife, 2 knuckle dusters,
What do you mean by knuckle duster?
it's a metallic weapon that you basically use to inflict a lot of injury on someone. You just place it on your hand through your fingers. There's 2 of them in here.
Is
It's
it
a
something that we would commonly refer to as brass knuckles?
brass knuckles, yes.
Okay. And again, all of those items are able to be seen through the clear plastic bag.
Yes, sir.
As you look at those items, do they appear to be in the same condition as when you found them back in the attic space on January the 15th at 165 Montesino Drive?
They are. They're the same.
Thank you, sir. I don't think I have anything further.
Cross-examination.
Good morning, Mr. Welch.
Good morning, sir.
I believe you said that you got involved on January 6th of 2013 in this investigation.
Yes, sir.
Do you recall was it around, I believe, January 11th that you interviewed Moises Reyes?
I probably did, yes, if that's what, yeah. Yes.
You recall that? I think that was basically on the same day you interviewed Ms. Estrada,
Right.
January 11th. Does that sound?
I know I've interviewed them, but so far as the dates, I mean, I can't
I think
remember.
you
It's a long
actually-
time ago.
Interviewed Ms. Estrada twice,
Right.
I think on the 11th and then on the 14th,
Correct.
because I believe you indicated you served a search warrant on her residence on
That's right.
January 14th.
Correct.
And just to be clear, I think the item that that's been, you've discussed today and opened the evidence box that you found at 4,000 Water Oak Drive was an AK-47 rifle.
Yes.
And in that, with that rifle, there, in that box that you described, which I believe was State's Exhibit number 4, you found that rifle under her bed?
Correct.
Is that correct? And there are, I believe there's 2 clips,
Correct.
ammo clips that are in that State's Exhibit number 4. Were they in the rifle?
I can't remember.
Or were they with the rifle?
Yes.
Okay. And, were they loaded
Yes.
magazines?
Yes.
Now, do you recall the other items that you seized from Ms. Estrada's apartment?
I don't recall offhand, no.
Do you recall finding a camouflage tactical ballistic style vest?
I believe so. Yes.
If it would help refresh your recollection, I've got a copy of the inventory.
It would help. Yes,
Okay.
please.
If I may approach, Your Honor.
Yes, you may.
Thank you.
Show you, well, I guess I'll show you what I marked, Defendant's Exhibit number 1, and just ask you to take a look at it. Show you what I marked, that's Exhibit number 1. You recognize that?
Yes, I do.
What is Defendant's Exhibit number 1?
It's a property inventory sheet which is filled out when a search warrant is executed at a given location. So it's where you list items of property that you seize.
Did you fill that out?
No.
Would that help refresh your recollection as to what you may have found at 4,000 Water Oak?
Whatever was recovered from that location that's listed on there, yes.
Were you the one that recovered all of the items from that?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Were you aware of all the items that were recovered at some point?
Yes.
If you could just take a look at that, and then would that help you refresh your memory as to the items that were recovered? from that address?
I can't remember all the items that were located or recovered, but whatever was recovered and seized from that location would have been listed on this evidence inventory sheet, yes. So whatever's on there was taken from there.
So are you saying you did not know what was recovered other than the AK-47
No,
the day you searched?
No, I just don't remember whatever was taken from that day.
Does Defense Exhibit Number 1 help refresh your recollection?
Whatever items were taken, yes.
Okay. So do you recall now that there was if I may approach, Your Honor?
You may.
A camouflage ballistic or camouflage tactical ballistic style vest?
Yes, sir.
What is that? You know what that is?
Basically body armor that an individual wears to stop themselves being injured by, being shot.
And you recall a blue bag with assorted black clothing?
I can't remember.
Okay.
As I said, whatever's on that inventory sheet was taken.
So if I may approach, Your Honor.
Yes, sir, you may.
Just, I need to refresh your recollection. Was there a blue bag? It says blag, but I'm assuming
Bag.
it was a blue bag you recovered with black clothing.
Yes, sir.
Do you recall what that bag looked like?
I can't remember now.
Shoebox containing various handwritten letters. Do you remember that was recovered?
Like I said, I can't remember. But if it's listed on there, then it was taken. I mean, I can't remember.
Various cell phones. Do you recall recovering various cell phones?
I think so. Vaguely.
And you recall a magazine, a round magazine?
A drum, yes.
Drum?
Yeah.
What would that be used for?
I guess it's a magazine. It just contains, it has the ability to contain a lot of ammunition, which is attached to an automatic rifle.
Would that have been something that could have been attached to the AK-47?
Yes, sir.
Regarding the search of 165 Montecito, did
Yes, sir.
you search the entire residence?
Vast majority of it, yes.
So do you recall all the items you recovered from that residence at this point?
Not at this point, no. As I said, I mean, I don't mean to be difficult. It was a long time ago. I mean, so far as the items that I've been shown today, and obviously the ones that, stand out in my mind from my memory, yes, I do. But I don't recall every single piece of item that was taken. That's why we use the inventory sheets.
Do you recall if you filled out the inventory sheets for 165 Montecito?
I can't remember. I recognize my handwriting.
Okay.
I don't think I did, no.
Did you do the 4,000 Watermark Drive or Water Oak Drive
No.
residence? No. Okay.
No.
All right. Mr. Welch, do you recall if you seized any shoes or footwear from either the residents at 4,000 Water Oak Drive or at 165 Montecito Drive?
I don't recall at 4,000, but I'm pretty sure we did at 165.
Do you remember which search that you would have recovered the footwear from?
Not off the top of my head, no.
You may.
Well, I'll show you what I marked as exhibit number 2.
Sure.
Just take a look at that for a moment. Do you recognize that?
Yes, sir, I do.
What is defendant's exhibit number 2?
Again, it's the search warrant inventory property sheet that's filled out on January 15th.
Is that your handwriting?
No.
Okay. Would that help refresh your recollection as to what may have been seized from the residents
Yes,
as
sir.
a result of that search? Okay. Have you had a chance to take a look at it to
I have.
refresh your recollection? Okay. Do you recall if any shoes or footwear was taken from that residence on January 15th?
No, sir, I don't think there was. No.
All right. May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes, sir.
Do you recall if numerous funds were seized from 165 Montecito?
I believe so.
On the 15th?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Your Honor. That's all the questions I have at this time.
Redirect.
No, sir.
Thank you, sir. You can step down.
Sir.
Matt, collect that.
Yes. Members of the jury, it's about 13 minutes to 11. It's a little bit early for our morning break, but rather than starting and stopping in midstream with a witness, in my discretion, I'm going to go ahead and take a morning break now. It may, because we're taking it so early, it may be necessary to take another one before we break for lunch. But what I'm going to do is ask you to leave your notebooks there in the chair as you have done in the past and return. This will be a little bit shorter since we'll likely take another one later this morning. Please return to the jury room at 11 a.m. And keep in mind the rules. Don't talk about this matter among yourselves or allow anybody to talk about it in your presence or form any opinions about anything that you've heard. I'm going to ask everyone in the courtroom to please remain seated while the jury is excused. Let the record reflect that all members of the jury have left the courtroom. Anything on behalf of the state or the defense?
No, Your Honor.
Very well, we'll be at recess till 11.
Superior Court stands in recess till 11 o'clock.
Hmm?